All right, well, welcome back. Today we're going to be continuing to read Primitive Mythology by Joseph Campbell. We're on Chapter 5, The Ritual Love Death, Section 4, The Monster Eel. East of Indonesia, Melanesia, and Australia, throughout the island-studded triangle of Polynesia, which has Hawaii at its apex, New Zealand at one angle, and Easter Island at the other, the mythological image of the murdered divine being, whose body became a food plant, has been adjusted to the natural elements of an oceanic environment. Snakes, for example, are unknown in the islands. The role of the serpent has to be played, therefore, by the closest possible counterpart of the serpent, a monster eel. And the force of the role has been greatly increased, or rather there is further evidence that the myths of Nicoli and Persephone, that in the myths of Nicoli and Persephone, the force of the role must have been greatly reduced. Paradoxically, then, it would appear that although we are moving eastward into the Pacific, we are also coming closer to the biblical version of the mythological event through which death came into the world. And something rather startling is beginning to appear, furthermore, concerning the relationship of Mother Eve to the serpent, and of the serpent to the food tree in the garden. The voluptuous atmosphere of the lush Polynesian culture, Polynesian adventure, will be different, indeed, from the grim holiness of the rabbinical Torah. Nevertheless, we are certainly in the same old book, of which, so to say, all the earliest editions have been lost. The hero of the following version of the origin of the coconut is not the first parent of mankind, but the favorite trickster hero of Polynesia, Maui, who is roughly a counterpart of Hercules. He is generally known as the youngest of a company of brothers, who may vary in number from 3 in Rarotonga to 6 in some of the versions from New Zealand. And among the best known of his magical exploits were the fishing up of the islands from the bottom of the sea, snaring of the sun to slow it down in its passage, lifting of the sky to give his friends more room on earth, and theft of fire from his mother's kitchen. Maui's wife, the heroine of our story, is the passionate, completely unashamed beauty Hina, for indeed, of what should she be ashamed? Who can be seen to this day in the markings of the moon, where she is sitting beneath a big ovava tree, beating out tapa cloth from its bark. Here is Tuamotuan. Here is the Tuamotuan version of Hina's adventure. Hina was originally the wife of the monster eel, Tetuna, whose name means frankly the Phalus. And the two lived together in their land beneath the sea until a day when Hina thought she had been there long enough. The place was intensely cold, and besides, she wanted to now be rid of Tetuna. So she said to him, "You just stay here at home. I'm going off to forage for us both." "And when shall you return?" he asked. She answered, "I shall be gone for quite a while, because today and tonight will be spent traveling, tomorrow looking for food, and the next day and night cooking the food. But the following day and night will see me on the way home." "Then go," he told her, "and stay away as long as necessary." So she set out on her journey, and she never paused to look for food, but went to forage for a new lover. She went as far as to the land of the male principal, Tane clan. And when she had reached their place, called out, "The eel-shaped creature dwelling in this inland region rides manfully to passion's consummation. Tetuna dwelling in the sea out there is but insipid food. I am a woman to be possessed by an eel-shaped lover, a woman come all the long way hither to unite in the struggle of passion upon the shores of Raronuku, the land below. and of Rarovaio, the land of penetrating waters. The first woman thus to come utterly without shame, seeking the eel-shaped rod of love. I am the dark pubic patch, pursuing the assuagement of desire. For the fame of your manly prowess, O men of the clan of the male principle, reached me even in the world below. I have come to you by way of unnumbered shores, along sandy beaches. Arise, the tumescent staff, be plunged in the consummation of love. I am this woman from afar, desiring you ardently, O men of the male principal clan. But the men of the clan only shouted at her in answer, There is the road! Follow it! Keep going! We shall never take the woman of the monster eel, Tetuna, lest we be slain. He would be here in less than a day. She continued on her way, and when she arrived at the land of the penetrating embrace, Pekka clan called out again using the same words, but the men replied, as had the others. She went on to the land of the erect Tu clan, and once again all happened as before. She came to the land of the Wonder Worker Maui clan, where the call and response were again repeated, and then she approached the home of Maui's mother, Huahega. When Huahega saw Hina approaching, she said to her son, Maui, take that woman for yourself. And so Maui Tiki Tiki Ataraga, Wonder Worker the Tumid, begotten of ascending shadow, took Hina to wife, and they all lived in that place together. But very soon everybody round about realized that Tetuna's wife had been taken by Maui, and they went to Tetuna and told him. Your wife, they said, has been carried off by Maui. Oh, let him have that woman to lie upon, Tetuna answered. However, they returned to him so often, always harping on the same theme, that finally Tetuna was roused to anger. He said to the people who kept coming to him with this chatter, What, then, is this man Maui like? He is actually a very small fellow, they replied, and the end of his phallus is quite lopsided. Well, just let him get one glimpse of the soiled strip of loincloth between my legs, Tetuna boasted, and he'll go flying out of the way. Then he said, Go tell Maui that I am coming on an expedition of vengeance. And he chanted a melancholy song of lamentation for his wife. The people listened to the song and went to Maui. Tetuna, they said, is coming to get you on an expedition of vengeance. Just let him come, Maui said. But then he asked, What sort of creature is he? Ho, they said, a gigantic monster. Is he as sturdy and strong and as tall, straight? Is he as sturdy and strong as a tall, straight coconut tree? The people, wishing to mislead him, answered, He is like a leaning coconut tree. Maui asked, Is he always weak and bending? They answered, His weakness is inherent. Oh ho, cried Maui, just let him catch one glimpse of the lopsided end of my phallus, and he'll go flying out of the way. The days passed, and patiently Maui waited, he and his household living all together. And on a certain day, when the skies grew dark, thunder rolled and lightning flashed, the people were filled with fear, for they knew that this now must be the coming of Tetuna. And they all blamed Maui. This, they said, is the first time that one man has stolen the woman of another. We shall all be slain. Maui reassured them, Just keep close together, and we shall not be slain. Tetuna presently appeared, and there were with him 4 companions. Pupu Vainoa, tuft in the center, Maga vai Iurire, noose existing in woman, Porporo tu Ahuaga, testicles set in the scrotum, and Toko Akura, clitoris continuously suffused. The monster eel stripped off his soiled loincloth and held it up in sight of all, when at once a vast billowy surge reared up and roared landward from the sea. It came sweeping on, towering above the land, and Huahega shouted to her son Maui, Be quick, let your phallus be seen. Maui obeyed, and immediately the huge wave receded until the bed of the sea was laid bare and the monsters were piled high and dry on a reef. Then he proceeded to the place where they were stranded and struck down 3. Toke Akura got away with a broken leg, while Tetuna himself Maui spared. Together Maui and Tetuna went to Maui's home, where they lived in harmony until a day when Tetuna said to Maui, "We shall have to fight a duel, and when one of us has been killed, the other will take the woman for himself." "What sort of duel would you like it to be?" Maui asked. And Tetuna said, "We shall first engage in a contest in which each goes completely into the body of the other. And when that is over, I am going to kill you, take my woman, and return with her to my own land." "Let it be as you wish," Maui agreed. Then he asked, "And who is to be the first?" "I'll begin," the monster eel replied, and when Maui consented, Tetuna stood up and commenced chanting his incantation. "The Orea eel swings and sways. The Orea eel balances his head lower and lower. He is a mighty monster who has come hither across the ocean from his distant isle. Your Phalus will urinate from fright." The monster contracts, becoming smaller and smaller. "It is I, Tetuna, who now enter, O Maui, into your body." And Tetuna disappeared completely into Maui's body, where he disposed himself to remain. However, after a long while, he came out again. Maui had not been disturbed in the least. "Well, now it is my turn," Maui said. Tetuna agreed, and the wonder worker began to chant his own spell thus: "The Orea eel swings and sways. The Orea balances his head lower and lower. A small man stands erect upon the land. Your Phalus will urinate from fright. Man contracts, becoming smaller and smaller. It is I, Maui, who now enter, O Tetuna, into your body." Maui disappeared completely into Tetuna's body, and at once all the sinews of the monster eel were rent apart so that he died. Whereupon Maui stepped forth, and cutting off Tetuna's head, bore it away, intending to give it to his grandfather. But his mother, Huahega, got hold of it, and refused to give it up. She said to Maui, "Take the head, and bury it beside the post in the corner of our house." And so he took it, buried it, and as she had directed, and never gave it another thought. Maui continued to go about his usual daily tasks, and they all went on living together as before, until one evening, when they were sitting in the corner of the house where the head of Tetuna had been buried, Maui perceived that a new shoot had sprung up from the sand. He was amazed. Huahega, noticing his surprise, said to him, "Why are you surprised?" To which he answered, "The head of Tetuna that I buried here in this corner of our house. Why has it sprouted?" Huahega then told him, "The plant growing beside you is a kind of coconut known as husk of the sea-green color from the region of the gods, because it has arisen from the depths of the sea, to reveal to us the color of its own land. Take care of your precious coconut tree, and you will find that it will provide us all with food." Maui plucked the fruit when it matured. The meat within was eaten by all, and the shell was then fashioned by Maui into a couple of bowls to serve as drinking cups. And when all was done, he danced and sang a boastful song in celebration of his own prowess and of that superiority in magic through which the monster eel's head had become transformed into his food. No more than a woman's belt strap, no more than a scurrying cockroach, was Tuna the Ancient One, bewitched with a sprig of mohio fern, a leaf casting its spell upon a mere simpleton in the arts of enchantment. What indeed did he bring against me? Nothing at all. And that, the tale concludes, is the way the coconut was acquired as food for all the people of this earth world here above. So with that, we'll end this with half the section today. Hope you enjoyed it, and enjoy your day.